Home Depot founder Bernie Marquez says, forget about saving face, we need to save the country. The billionaire pulling no punches in a very directed, candid interview, saying this White House needs to change its ways fast.
I think that the dialogue is not a good dialogue, and I think it's very disingenuous.
On whose part?
Well, on the part of the administration. When they talk about the small businessman, and everything is geared, because everybody understands. I mean, Neil, the world knows that, I don't know, maybe 80% of the jobs in the United States are created not by GE, because they create them all over the world. It's created by the free enterprise system and the small business guy. The guy who hires and has 50 people working for him, and there are thousands of those and maybe tens of thousands. The guys who have medium-sized businesses that do $2, $3, $4, $5, $10 million.
Well, the White House, Bernie, says it is helping those guys with this Small Business Act.
Well, let's take one piece of it. Accelerated depreciation. Come on, give me a break. A guy is running a restaurant. What is accelerated depreciation going to do for him? I mean, maybe he can buy more stoves up front and spatulas and write them off immediately. No, it's good for Jeff Immelt at GE, and I'm sure that they help write the legislation. Listen, I never.
You think they're not really paying attention to
I think they don't have a clue of who the small business guy is. They don't have a clue. Now, why should me? I mean, I employed 300,000 people, and I ran a big multi-billion-dollar business. The reason for it is that I'm basically a small businessman at heart. When we started the Home Depot in 1978, I was broke. I was broke. You had Arthur Blank, you had myself, you had Ken Langone, who was trying to raise the money to get us started. By the way, all of us were broke. Ken Langone was not the big guy he is today, okay? He also was struggling a lot. And we got together.
And the concept seemed silly at the time. Well, I remember that,
not only the concept, people were really betting against us.
Sure.
Because who was going to go into these gigantic stores and have these great assortments, et cetera, et cetera. On top of that, have qualified people who were going to teach you how to use a product. It's stupid. It was really dumb as could be. And so I remember opening the stores. I remember working at night without air conditioning, setting up the shelves. I remember sweating.
Were you handy, Bernie? Did you know about?
My father was a carpenter. I want you to know he's a cabinet maker. And I learned many years ago I don't want to be handy. I'll explain to you later, okay? I never wanted to understand tools or anything because I spent all my life in the stores, and I would walk around and say, "Oh my God, what is that? How do you?"
But nevertheless, you had an idea for something like that.
Well, how do you use it? And then if the associate knew how to use it, then he was teaching me, and then I knew we had somebody that really understood the product. If he didn't know it, then we had to go out and retrain him. So we ended up with those kind of people. But I spent my life in the stores, and opening the stores was brutal. It was brutal. I remember the weeks that we were concerned about not making payroll and how we cut back on this and cut back on that. And we tried to hire the best people. And we got to a point where we almost couldn't take salaries to get our best people working. That is the life of the small businessman. That's how he lives his life.
So what does the small businessman want today? If this job measure, this small business measure, doesn't cut it, Republicans say, well, just cut their taxes. That'll do it. What do you say?
Well, no, I think cutting their taxes is right. I think that keeping the Bush tax cuts is proper.
But the administration argues, Bernie, only a small percentage of those small business guys would benefit anyway from that.
Again, I don't think they... Listen, the president is surrounded by guys like Gaitner, Summers. Think about it. All college professors. They all come out of economics. They all come out of academia. Is he surrounded by one business guy like myself? Is there anybody that you know of that is in that administration that could speak to business people? He has nobody. He has nobody.
But Bernie, they come around and say other presidents have been served by seasoned CEOs. President Bush had one who ran a railroad, and before that, Aluminum Company of America. And so they're saying, well, that's what the seasoned CEO got you.
What did he get us? I mean, listen, if he hadn't fallen off the clicker with Iraq, let's not mix the two. Let's not mix the two together. And let's remember one other thing, that the control of the last 2 years of the Bush administration were controlled by a Democratic Congress. I mean, and let's look at Let's look at how it's scaled up, and let's look at where the money was spent and how we got into this unbelievable, terrific, terrible debt that we are now facing. I mean, that we are never going to be able to pay off. This country will never pay that debt off. And if we continue this kind of a policy, we're dead in the water.
Yeah, but isn't the argument, I'm just devil's argument here, you have to dig in to get out. In other words, that this is something that will pay off in terms of an improved economy. They argue the numbers are starting to look better. The market's starting to look better.
What numbers are looking better? What are you talking about?
You don't buy that?
No, come on. Give me. You're reading the New York Times. Say,
hey, that's a low blow.
Well, I mean, where are the common? It's not getting better.
So you think they should just put the spending shovel down? Because there's talk today, Joe Biden today saying, keep the spending going. Stimulus is working like a charm.
I don't know what he's smoking, but we ought to put the rest of the world on it. I'll tell you that.
This is the Vice President of the United States you're talking about.
He may still be smoking, okay? So,
but now the debate is over the tax cuts, right?
Well,
to extend them all. Would you extend them all? Talk is Nancy Pelosi could come up with a compromise for another year or two.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because I hope that by that time this Congress will change dramatically. So yes, let's cut them all. All of them. And I think the Republicans should not back off. I think they should not back off, and I think they should take a stand on it and say, we need to, and I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. The last 6 months or so, I have really spent a lot of time talking to small business guys. And I can give you it really starts at maybe $500 million going down. And these are the guys that I hang around with. I don't hang around with the big CEOs of the multi-billion-dollar corporations. I grew up in Atlanta, and these are the people I know. They're successful business people. They've all created their own business. Most of them run sub-Chapter S businesses. And I go through their pain vicariously. They explain what's happening to them. And so let me give you an idea of what I have talked about within the last 2 weeks, in fact. I mean, this is in the last 2 weeks. In fact, yesterday, let me give you one for yesterday. Here's a guy running a business, $14 million. He's got 600 employees. He has health care. He's in the health care business. So it's not important to tell you who it is because I promised all of them I would not identify him. And so I said, how's everything going? He says, I'm hanging in by my fingernails, hanging in. And when you hear hanging in, this is not good. This is a guy that's expanded, and it's expanded in all the years I've known him. He said the last 3 years he's pulled back. He's let go of a lot of people. He said, a very painful experience for me, but I let go of a lot of people. So I said to him, well, they're going to pass this bill. It's going to help you. And he laughed at me with depreciation. He said, that's the biggest joke ever. He said, number one. Number two, he said, this nonsense about not being able to get money from the banks, he says, it's total nonsense. The bank is begging me to take money. Really? I'm not going to buy. I heard this from 15 different people.
So why is he reluctant to try to borrow?
He doesn't want to. He says, I'm not going to go into debt. I don't trust the future.
So why are so many, Bernie, large and small, piling up all this cash? By last count, what? Almost $2 trillion worth of
Because
cash.
they don't know what's coming. Here's what he said. He said to me, Bernie, you've known me for a lot of years. I'm a planner. I'm a budgeter. He said, what can I budget for? He said, every day they throw something new at us. Every day there's a new regulation. Every day there's something else coming down the pike. He said, I can't budget. He said, this administration is killing us. He says, on top of that, and this is the key, this is the key, Neil. He said, this debt, this budget, this debt that we have in the trillions, he said, Bernie, I'm going to have to pay for it somehow. No one else is going to have to pay for it.
But what got him concerned about it? The same thing I asked Tea Partiers when they go to their rallies. What got them aware of deficits that have been with us for years? I mean, the rap against a lot of these guys, oh, they just hate Obama.